Alright guys, so I've tried doing this video several times and I kept running into bugs that I'd overlooked. This has been a pretty complex refactor. So this new system now is event driven for equip and unequip montages. So this montage is actually meant to come out into an aiming pose. That's why if you come out into an aiming pose, then it'll look right. I'll probably make one for the resting pose later. But one thing that you need to know about these animation montages is that for the live retargeted characters, they're going to have to be modified for proper hand placement, if you want proper hand placement on those characters. And I'm not going to do that right now. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to fill out all these animations for the character, because right now the pistol left, the dual pistol, and the pistol right, and the flashlight, they don't have montages. So equip montages. Also, another thing to note is if you don't have an equip, an unequip montage, it'll automatically play the equip montage in reverse. So if you don't have an unequip animation, it'll just play the equip animation in reverse. Now, I didn't set it up so that it supports that the other way around because I only have an equip montage right now. But you'll see that I got this working to the auto-equip, auto-unequip, and equip for the traversal. And I decided not to do a synchronized one for that one. So I do have on these function, on the freehand function, the safe freehand function, I have a Boolean that you can uncheck if you want to skip the animations. And you'll see that it'll skip the unequip animation, basically, is what it'll do. Now, I haven't exposed to that for the equip functions yet, but I may do that in the next update, just in case somebody finds a use case where they need to do that. As of right now, I've only added support for things that I saw we needed. So you'll also see that, and this is a client, these are clients on a dedicated server, guys. Also, you'll see I can pick up right there. And now there is one slight bug that pops up sometimes, and I have not quite identified what causes it yet, but I think after I drop it and then if I pick it back up, yeah, you see. So it'll pop up first. I'll have to look into that. I tried tracking it down and I wasn't quite able to resolve that. Also, if I equip this and do the other one real quick, there was a bug where we were going into an infinite loop, but I fixed that. So, yeah. Now, I did see one bug, and I looked into it, and it seems to actually be an engine bug, and I don't know what triggers it. But after the editor is open for so long, if you stop the game and then you start it again, your character's unarmed linked anim layer may not ever get hooked up properly. And I'm not exactly sure what causes that, but it actually seems to be an engine bug. So let me just go ahead and go over this. I'm going to explain to you guys how this works. A lot of this stuff inside of here has been refactored. You'll see I have one little function in here that's deprecated. I also tried to reorganize things so that it makes more sense. So I have equip stuff under the equip item category, drop stuff under the drop, and holster under the holster, and then you have your pickup. Also, all the stuff that I had to add for the event driven is all under here as well. So if we go to our event graph, you'll see, actually, I think I should probably move this. Oop. I think I should probably actually move this over here. In case you guys didn't know why I have this delay here, it's because of the way that their widget system switches characters for you in here. It causes timing problems, because what it actually does is it actually spawns the UEFN, and then it despawns the UEFN, and it replaces them with another actor. That's the reason why. Okay, I don't know why those are suddenly firing. Yeah, so yeah, continue. Sorry, so that made me lose my train of thought. Okay. So yeah, anyway, so that's the reason why I have that delay there. If the character gets replaced, if this fires before the character gets replaced, the character mesh, I guess, then this stuff may be incorrect. Well, actually, this stuff right here, it'll cause the items to drop on the ground. So it's mostly for this. Okay, sorry, so I'm droning on. So under the event-driven free hand and equip, this is where stuff related to freeing the hands and equipping items are. These are event-driven systems. You'll see a bunch of calls on events. And if you look down here, you'll see all the events in here. And I could probably subcategorize some of this stuff like this. Could be, and actually this one is being deprecated. So I'm probably going to remove that. Yeah, I guess that would be under holster. On task finished is supposed to fire after everything is done. So I have a locking system in here. And you'll notice that if you select some of these, basically all of these are private. All of them except this one right here, which is public. You can call this one to just safely free the hands. The reason why is because I need to update the busy state. And I need to make sure that that none of this gets fired and none of this gets fired if we're already in the middle of executing this code. Otherwise, it'll interrupt the chain of events and variables will get changed before certain events are finished. And then next thing you know, you have items falling on the ground and you have items attached to the hands that aren't actually being held in the hands, or the players, the linked anim layers and anim sets haven't been updated properly, so on and so forth. So that's basically the rundown on why I did that. So later on, I'll probably replace this. I don't know. I may keep it like this because it makes debugging easier. And if you guys find any bugs that I happen to miss, this will help me debug it. So whenever we update the busy state, if it's been set back to false, we're going to call the on task finished, and then we're going to unbind these events from it. Only one of these events will actually be bound when this gets called normally, under normal circumstances, because also I unbind it again here just as a safety precaution, just in case there's any lingering ones. And this hasn't fired for some reason, which that shouldn't be ever be the case. But if it is, this will make sure that nothing bad happens. So yeah, so I have this firing off of two different things simply because of the signatures of my events. The events I'm binding to need to match that. And I'll briefly go over the other part with you too. So over here under item handling, and this can actually be deleted here, we have our attach and our equip logic, and that gets fired by events over here on this. So if I double click this one, so basically if we come over here and we say and we have it set to, we have this set to either hand, then what it's going to do is it's going to call this one, and that's going to free both hands. And it's going to free the left hand first. And then whenever the montage attach has fired, and if we come over here, and I know I'm jumping around, but just bear with me. So whenever we fire the unequip or the server equip item on these items, if there's a montage, it'll play a montage. You see, so it's going to see if there's an equip montage. And for the unequip, if there's an unequip montage, it'll play that. But if not, it'll play the equip montage in reverse, which basically you can do that just by setting a negative play rate. But if you do that, if you set a negative play rate, you also need to set the starting position to the end of the montage, which is why I have this right here. But anyway, the point is that if you play the montage, then it'll wait for an montage, an montage notify event to fire on the montage. And if I can remember where I put that, let me just open this up. So over here in the weapons choosers, under our item or character data, under our montages in this data asset, that's where we assign that to the .equip, the weapon.equip, and that's this right here. And so if I come over here, you'll see I have this playing just like I think the reload animation is set up like this. So it's playing on the upper body as a regular animation, and then it's actually playing on the lower body. And I probably should have called that lower body add. I'll probably rename that later in the future because I'm sure it confuses people, but that's actually the lower body additive. And so we need this to be applied on the lower body additively. You don't necessarily need to add this, but it makes sure that it looks exactly like the animation, but only if the animation was made properly. It's got to be made properly. You'll see that mine is made from the UEFN idle pose. I made this one from the UEFN idle pose. So you'll see this in montage notify event right here called attach. So over here on this, whenever we get to that point in the animation, it'll fire this. And then right here, I'm just checking to make sure that this is the attach, the one that I labeled with attach. That's all we're doing. And if so, and this is the server, if it's a standalone game, the client is the server in a standalone game. Actually, it's not even a client. In standalone, you are the server. So, and if that's the case, and we are, and this is set to is equipping, then we'll attach the item. If it's not set to equipping, if this is false, then what we'll do is we'll clear this item from the hand. And then we'll fire this montage event and then unbind everything from it. If no montage was found, it'll fire this attach item for this one, for the equip, And then it'll fire this fire and reset events, which is just this montage attach, this, and then it unbinds them. Now, this right here is probably going to be removed later on. At the time, at one point, I started passing this around from function to function because I was having a timing issue. I think that's irrelevant now. I do believe I fixed that. So in the next update, this probably won't be getting passed in through here and back out. But for now, it will be. It's not hurting anything currently, but in order to save a little bit of, processing, I'll probably remove it in the next update, more than likely. So anyway, right here you'll see I bind the attach item to slot actor event to that montage fire. And then depending on if we're equipping or not, if this needs equip is set to true, then we will fire these equip function, but if not, we'll fire the just free right hand function on montage attach. Then we holster the item, so on and so forth. If for whatever reason we failed to holster, then we're going to fire one of these two functions just to continue. And if this returns true for whatever reason, it just means that we either dropped the item because we didn't have anywhere to put it, or it could also mean that there was nothing in that hand, so the hand was empty. And so this is just going to set this to right hand, and then it's going to go back through here. And then it'll fire this event, which basically does the same thing. This one has a delayed equip if this is set to true. And that goes back to, if I can get back over there, that's where this happens. And then we just want to make sure that this is unbound from the montage attach. It was actually causing a problem in one case where this and this was causing an infinite loop because they were getting ping-ponged back and forth too quickly before another event was able to finish them off. And then we're going to grab the item. This is going to bind on montage attached, the item equipped. And then it's going to fire this or this, depending on if we're picking the item up or just equipping it from a holster. When that event fires, it'll fire this item equipped, which will free that slot actor. That way we can put it back in the slot later, the holster. And then it's going to fire this all items equipped, which is going to fire this as soon as all the items are equipped. So if we're equipping 2 dual welding pistols, then this will have to fire twice before this fires. But if we're just equipping a rifle, then this only needs to fire once before this fires. And that's basically the rundown on that. Now this right here is used by the traversal, and this should actually be removed. I won't be using that in here. And this was just repurposed logic from another event because I needed it to be a delayed event. And yeah, so this is used whenever we go to traverse and we need to put both weapons away at this, like back to back. Oh, actually, no. This is used after the traversal when we want to draw both weapons at the same time. So I actually ended up repurposing that elsewhere as well. But you'll see that this draw item is actually being used by the pickup logic and the in the other logic as well. So our cycle system uses this draw holstered item now, and our our pickup does too. Oh yeah, so our draw holstered item by index uses that. And our pickup held objects, which is fired right here. That's a public one. This should be a private one. It's not. That needs to be private. So yeah, so this one right here, it was using different stuff inside of here. Now it's just using that same event. This is actually deprecated. I'm going to be likely removing this in the next, actually I'll probably remove it before I even push this. So, because it's not actually needed anymore. So it doesn't serve any purpose. So you'll see this logic is quite a bit cleaner now. It should be easier for people to understand how this system works. It is a complex system, guys. I'm not even going to lie. But yeah, anyway, that's basically the rundown on it, guys. And I will see you in the next video.